Hello, everyone. One and all, welcome back to the only Traitors podcast, the best Traitors podcast and only Traitors podcast on YouTube. Here we are back after our riveting cover of episode 8. On the previous episode, the Candace versus Rob Traitor showdown ends in Candace being banished at the round table and being revealed to be a traitor. Rob, being the last standing traitor, is tasked with presenting one of the remaining players with an ultimatum: join him or die. He selects Eric, and we left off with Eric being completely gagged, learning Rob, not Johnny, is a traitor. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Only Traitors podcast. All right, y'all.
Good intro.
Thank you. We are back. And we have special guests today, like Super Dope. You want to introduce yourself?
I mean, there's nothing much to introduce. Name like Super Dope, and I'm here to hate on Candace. Let's get into it.
All right, well, let me just mute him real quick. And of course, we have me and the lovely Jazz back. All right, so do we want to just get right into the episode and start discussing? I think that would work. Yeah. All right. So, like I said, we left off with Eric learning that Rob was a traitor. So we go right into that. Eric had no idea that Rob was a traitor, but Rob tells Eric that they're equals and they're in this together, and he's going to stick by him and they can win this. So we get them in the turret, Eric's first turret, and we hear them make a short list of who they want to murder for that night because they immediately have to go into murdering. They come up with Dorinda, who they cite is loyal to Rob and it wouldn't implicate them. Steven, who would just be random because ain't nobody worried about him. And Natalie, who would be really hard to banish. So let's go back a little. Eric, he was given the choice to be a traitor. He says to be a traitor. He accepts the choice. Is there a world where he dies? If y'all are Eric, are you saying yes? Are you dying? If so, why?
I just can't see that happening.
I mean, I think Daryl in the chat, you said it right. Like, Eric probably saw Rob pull his hood down and was like, hot Rob. I wish I was a traitor from the beginning. So, like, in the beginning, he was like, oh, hey, I could never be a traitor. I'm a faithful through and through. I'm an honest guy. You saw Rob threw that shit right out the window.
Yeah. I was thinking it was Johnny. He was like, oh, gosh, it's Johnny. I do not. I'm dying here tonight.
He's like, I'm not getting that turret with Johnny at all.
No, but do you want some hot goss? So I was watching another Traitors podcast. I forget what they exactly call it, but it's on the Heavy Crown Network YouTube channel, which it's a podcast with Tiffany, the one who was actually on this season earlier, and two of the cast members of her season of Big Brother. And she said she directly asked Eric if there was any chance he would have died, or he would have just chosen to die. And he says that he would have died if it had been Johnny. But his reasoning was that he was on to Johnny. So if it had been Johnny, he would have been like, I don't want to be a part of this losing team because Johnny's about to get found out. Therefore, I don't want to play with him. But because Rob had no idea it was Rob, and Rob was doing a good job, he was like, okay, I can do this with Rob, somebody with a lot of sense.
Nah, so, I think he said, I need to do this with Rob.
Well,
I mean, I would as well for that same reasoning, because it's just like everybody's not suspicious of him. So it's like, I'm good. Yeah. I mean, I just have to make myself look good after.
Yeah, exactly. But you're not already like, coming from a losing position of like, oh, now I got to get the traitors out of this hole because people are into them. So yeah, you're joining a winning team effectively. So it's,
Yeah, that's fair. But that brings me to the next question I had. So you're Eric. Rob is saying we're equals. If we stick this in or stick together, we're going to win this. But knowing that Rob was instrumental in both banishing Lisa and Candace, are we actually believing him? Is it smart for Eric to trust Rob from a gaming aspect?
From gaming, not at all, right?
Yeah.
But also, it's like, you either realize you don't have the context and you're not going to like fully not trust him. I guess if I was Eric, I would give him the chance to trust him but also like I need to verify. Like I need to see some, actions that say, oh, like he's actually on my side, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do we think like Rob, because Rob does go on and cite that he thinks Eric's intelligent. That's one of the reasons
Mm-hmm.
he picked him. But especially as we see him play in this episode, do you think there's a part of Rob? Because the thing is, Rob is smart, but I feel
Mm-hmm.
like people don't give him enough credit for being a bit conniving. So do you think there's any part of Rob who chose Eric because he felt as though he'd be really obvious, he'd crash and burn, and it would be very easy to throw him to the wolves if he had to?
Mm.
I was thinking that when I was watching, but I don't know if he's done anything yet that confirms that's what he was thinking, because it seems like he is trying to help him
Mm-hmm.
by giving him like information.
Yeah. I think like I'm just gonna go on the record and say it. Rob is the best player since Suri. No, seriously.
Okay.
And so like when he was evaluating like who he's gonna put on, he's like, okay, I want to put on Johnny as a scapegoat eventually, right? But then he's also like, I could put on like Kristen because she's smart. But it's like in any situation where you don't know the full like context of the future, you have to like kind of play all of your cards, like cover all your bases at once. And so that makes Eric the actual best choice because Eric is smart. But on the other hand, if he messes up, he's going to be that scapegoat. He's like a 2-in-1.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a good point. That was kind of what I was thinking too. It's like maybe because okay, maybe I'm a little as like the number one Candace defender. I do
Mm,
think I am a little pressed, perhaps, that it seems like there's more of a willingness of Rob to want to work with Eric than it maybe seemed like he would want to work with Candace or
mm-hmm.
Lisa. Like
Yeah.
I feel like, we're gonna probably see in the next episode, and we'll get to that later, that there might come a time where Rob has to either decide to let Eric's name be said or help defend him. And I feel like how we see that play out personally would
Mm,
be kind of telling to
yeah.
me on who he's like for real trying to work with and who he
Yeah.
legitimately wanted to play
Yeah.
this game with and who he was not trying to. I will
Yeah.
say, Rob has been very quiet up until this point, and I think like, both among the faithful, but in the turret. And I do think that Lisa and Candace are very dominating. And as we see, and it might be because he's a new traitor, in this episode, you see that like Eric's pretty much just like, yes, Rob, let's do that, Rob. Okay, Rob. So it really is
Mm-hmm.
Rob calling the shots, right?
Yeah.
So,
Which makes sense because, like I said, one of the best traders since Suri. And Lisa and Candace were not playing smartly as traders, especially Lisa. Like Daryl said, like Lisa was sunk, like, and Candace hied herself to a sinking ship instead of saying, hey, like, let's play this smart. And so, as much as Eric can be a scapegoat in the future, Eric is also a logical, like, smart person. Like, his magic ear aside, like he
and
does deal
eyes.
in musical note and he does deal in
Yeah.
musical notes, which translates to mathematical intelligence and stuff like that. So he knows how to, think to a certain extent. And he's not gonna just he is going with Rob now because he's new to tradering. But I think like as he finds his footing, he could probably be very valuable. So
Yeah. I feel like he got thrown into so much in one
mm-hmm.
episode. Like
Yeah.
that first challenge, I was like, oh gosh, I would hate that. I would hate that with
Yeah.
every fiber of my being.
Yeah, being in that box and then like I was like worried like if I was there like the creaking like every little sound of like how did no one hear that and
Yeah.
no one call anything or think anything or
Yeah.
even like call it out. That was crazy to me.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. So yeah, the next day we have breakfast, and as usual, all the players come into breakfast one by one, and we get some interesting discussions. So the first wave, we get Kristen, Mark, and Ron, who are pretty much, or Rob, sorry, all in a consensus that they think is it's Johnny, specifically because, like we mentioned, Candace was revealed to be a traitor. Johnny and Candace were very close. Johnny seemed very defeated. And in addition to that, in a previous game, Candace tried to push for Johnny to get a shield. And so since they think Johnny may be a traitor, They are kind of also implicating Tara, saying that either she was recruited to be a traitor alongside him since they're besties, or she's being used as like a faithful shield, a cover up for him. Then we get Eric and Tara. Eric is really, really nervous, and he's talking about how he doesn't know what to do. And Tara, she directly brings up to the group, yes, I know y'all think it's Johnny, but that's my bestie. We're locked in. I don't think it's him. Next, we get Mara and Johnny. Johnny basically just straight out says, hey, I know Candace just got banished, and I feel like I was, a fool because I was basically a cover for Candace. I was her best friend. I was defending her. I was very close, and she ended up being a traitor. Mara, she has a very, enlightened moment where she actually mentions that she thought it might be Rob because Candace voted for him twice before eventually being banished and revealed to be a traitor. But Rob, he immediately defects that and says she was just trying to pin it on me. It's not, it didn't work.
Genius level play.
Dude, okay. Okay, so as the Candace defender, hello. So the Candace thought process is eating a bit, even though it's Mara that, she told Rob directly. So I don't even think she really considered it for that long. But I like the fact that Mara is showing that, yeah, it is kind of suspicious. That is a weird, suspicious voting pattern.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I felt a little vindicated, but
no, Rob is already sprinkled his snake dust. He's done his snake charm on everyone. Because literally, Mara can be like, oh, I think it's Rob. And then Rob just picks her up and carries never mind. So, he literally knows how to push the right button for someone and be like, oh, never mind, Rob. It could be you with your sleeveless shirt. Come here. Yeah. I was watching the after show of the other podcast with Bob the Drag Queen and Boston Rob, and they had Dorinda on as a guest, and they showed Rob deliberating with Eric of why they would choose Dorinda, and literally after watching that, she's like, I still love Rob. And that doesn't show just how good
Eric,
he is.
But I love Rob.
Yeah, exactly.
I hate Ron Funches. Yeah, that was crazy. I was sick to my stomach seeing that.
Daryl said when Mara said it was Rob, she meant that she thought they would have murdered Rob. Oh, fair.
Well, I would say, though, that brings up another point that I think is pretty suspicious. And I'll bring it up. It relates to the mission, so I'll save it. But I do think it's interesting that while Rob is good at the games, we know, nobody really suspects him to be the one being murdered. And I don't know if we talked about this, Jasmine, but I think we talked about this, Alfred, a couple times about how, if somebody's so clearly a faithful, they're no longer very useful to the traitors. So you would think, and if they do have the power to kind of lead people and have people's ear like Rob, I do wonder why people are never suspicious that Rob is not up for murder.
I think he brings in the money.
I don't know, y'all. That just kind of seems, I don't know, but yeah. Anyway, we last get Natalie and Steven, which reveals that Dorinda was the one who's murdered. And we also get Natalie, kind of being frustrated with her gameplay so far and telling and noting that she wants to think outside the box. So now she's suspicious of Steven. All right. So
let me think outside of the box and choose the person sitting next to me.
Exactly. Okay. Both of y'all. Faithfuls, are they dumb as rocks? Or is Rob eating? This is the debate that has been going on the
Wait, say it again.
Are the faithfuls dumb? Or is Rob just doing a really good job right now? For example,
I think they can be dumb.
Mm-hmm.
They've made dumb decisions.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah. So whoever the psychologist for the show was who decided that Rob should be a traitor was a genius. Because they must have watched Love Island and watched how he just snakes in there and he plays the back seat, but he's not really playing the back seat. He's just evaluating. Literally, that's how you get snakes. You have to watch a snake, watch how it moves, and only when you understand its movement do you jump in there and grab that snake, right? That's how he's playing. But I mean, to the faithful's credit, it's Natalie is a gamer. She's not dumb, but she just can't get a good footing on how this game is supposed to be played. I don't think anyone as a faithful can really get a good grasp of how do you identify a traitor. And same thing with Kristen. It's oh yeah, she's a world recognized chef. She's like pretty intelligent, but you know, how do you translate filleting, like making a filet mignon to like figuring out who is lying to you in front of your face as a traitor, meanwhile saying your best friend? Like literally, Rob created another group with the Dagger Six, immediate loyalty. Rob went into that little place with the paintings, said, "Oh, Kristen, you can have," or whoever got the whatever, you can have that. Loyalty, 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 and then he just goes in, pop. So it's like the snake is like, I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's hard. It's hard because Rob is so good, and I don't think the Faithfuls are dumb. I just think they were put up against a person who was perfect for this role. So.
Yeah.
I just feel like I need to slander Rob a tad. No, just kidding.
No, yeah, time out. That's so. I'm gonna put Rob enthusiast.
I know you can't change.
No, I think like I agree with Daryl. It's just like we have like an omniscient viewpoint, and it's easy for us to call them dumb because we like know everything that's going on. But like I'm just imagining if I was there, like meeting all these new people, going on these challenges, and then also being like, you know, put on camera every day. Like all that stuff is a factor that we don't even see. Right. And so it's like, it's hard to really make good decisions. So I'm surprised that this show didn't introduce alcohol. I guess they drink alcohol in the evenings, but they don't show that part.
Do they? Oh.
Then in the cups, right? They're always like, "Oh, I need a drink. That challenge was hard," and then like take the whole barrel, and they're like,
after the round table. Yeah, I mean, that's what I keep hearing with the faithful, like, oh, it's easy because we already know he's a traitor, and that's true. I just think, I mean, to your point, I do okay, I think it's weird that, like, for example, like what's considered suspicious? Like, one of the things that they keep saying is like Johnny was so suspicious because he was close to Candace or whatever, or like he was sad when Candace was banished.
Or when they slip up words.
Oh yeah, when they slip up words, which like literally the fact that they tried to use that when Portia was
so many times,
like come up with anything else.
But yeah, like, that's like example, a red herring at this point,
right? Yeah. Because I feel like it could be a situation where somebody.
But if you're a traitor, you're gonna be careful enough not to slip on words because you already know. But like the faithfuls, I mean, Candace would have been a good faithful because like the faithfuls run off of emotion only.
Candace would have been a good faithful like she was a good traitor. That's a good catch.
So I mean, she started off a good traitor and then ended off a clown.
But... Okay, we need to do that. Okay, going around. What do we rate Candace's gameplay? Jazz, you go first.
7.
Okay, that's good. Cause like, okay, don't you think up until that Rob vote, she was playing a pretty good game?
I think so. But then she ruined it for herself. Like she shot herself in the foot.
I guess that's fair. You know,
I really think she should have played it slowly if she wanted to get back at Rob. But she immediately just jumped onto him, and it was just like you didn't think anything through. And like we can tell by how it all played out. There was like no follow-up plan.
Okay, true. So I think that's true. I'll say a couple things about that though. I do think she was a bit emotional with the Rob vote. I do think she thinks that it would have ate, and I do think it would have ate, but I think she misunderstood how much people trusted Rob, which I like. Mm-hmm. I definitely think there's 2 levels of like, there's tiers of bad gameplay, right? If she knew how popular Rob was and still thought it was going to be that easy to flip the vote on him, then I think that was bad. She was like not playing smartly. If she wasn't aware how much Rob had these people wrapped around her finger, which obviously you can comment on the fact that she wasn't gathering good enough information, but she didn't really know his place, and then she thought she could flip it on him, I don't think that's that bad of a play. Right? Especially if you genuinely think that he's coming for you and he might end you any second, personally. So I'll probably give her like a 7 too. Like super dope. Let me guess, 2.5.
I give her a 7 as well. No, I mean, people think I'm a Candace hater because she was a bad traitor. I'm a Candace hater because she was a good traitor who fell from grace like Icarus flying too close to the sun. Yeah. That's like one little mistake. You can't get too cocky in this game. And that's why I think Rob is a good traitor, because it's like he plays the game, but he never gets too cocky, right? And honestly, if you want to talk about loyalty, because Candace is like, I'm loyal, blah, 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 blah. Ron has been like authentically loyal to people he connects with authentically, whereas Candace is just like at a pageant show, always like putting on the thing, doing a freaking conga line, wearing a Medusa helmet. So
that conga line. I still don't understand.
I don't know how anyone didn't call her out as a traitor for doing that horrible conga line.
Immediately, I was like, what was that?
Yeah.
What was it?
So the faithfuls are foolish.
Yeah, but I guess to your point, it's like what could be considered, like something to suspect somebody on. So
that's
it's hard.
Daryl says, I've seen different country trader seasons, and there's only one season where I can say that the faithfuls were just dumb. I do agree that if you look in the old Reddit posts, everyone's always like, they're so dumb, like every single season. So I do think that there's a bit of a bias.
I mean, I think Ron was smart, so.
Ron or Rob?
Ron. So I don't think the faithfuls this time are stupid.
They were just dumb about him.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a whole other podcast about the bias towards Ron.
I'm happy Dorinda's gone. Dorinda needed to go.
That's true.
Yeah.
Now that Colton is and Dorinda's gone, I feel like we can have a good season. I will say though, people do play a bit cowardly, because I think a lot of people realized when Ron, if we're going back, made that speech, he probably wasn't a faithful, but they'd rather, or he probably was a faithful, but they'd rather just vote him out, because it's like, well, who else are you gonna vote out? And you don't want it to be. So they
wasted so many votes based on friendship.
Yeah, unfortunately. Did anyone have any other comments that they wanted to make about breakfast before we move on to the mission? All right. So for the mission, we have a very interesting one, because it's very risky for the traitors, and it's also potentially a chance for faithfuls to get clues on who the traitors are. So in this mission, all of the contestants are put into these apparently, I guess, like soundproof boxes, maybe not soundproof, but they're lined up right next to each other. And every round, the traitors need to leave their box, and they select the contestant to answer a most likely to question. So something like, who do you think is the traitors think are the most useful? Who do you think doesn't deserve to make it to the end? Things like that. So after they answer the questions, they have to sneak back into their boxes, and all of the players are called out of their boxes and asked to answer the same question, with the goal of trying to correctly guess how the traitors would answer. So each round, for every correct guess, they bank $500. So they play the game. Dollars. They play the game, and essentially none of the questions end up really mattering that much, because in order not to give any info, the traitors, or I should probably say Rob, come up with the idea that they should just say Tara for every single answer. That way they're not actually giving any insight into how they're actually thinking. Now this kind of like sucks for Tara, because she's already shook, because people are suspecting her bestie Johnny, and they're kind of suspecting her. So she is kind of like, why are the traitors doing this to me? It's very unfair. But the traitor, or the faithful, are actually somewhat able to catch on to this pattern by the end. But that really ends up shooting Johnny and Tara in the foot, because I think because they're a little bit offended that Tara keeps being voted, they don't follow suit and just vote Tara. So I'm gonna stop right there before we get to the very, very end. But what are y'all's thoughts on this voting Tara strategy from the traitors? Do we like it? Do we hate it? Do we think it's obvious? Do we think it's actually good gameplay?
Can't be obvious, right? How is anyone going to know what that means?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, I will say, and this makes me seem like I'm like a traitor slanderer, but okay, this is where I'm just kind of like, I don't know. Like, Kristen keeps saying that she thinks because Tara's so scared, she thinks that Tara's suspicious or whatever. But I think you would have to be a really bold player to be like, let me vote myself again and again and again and again. Like, I just feel like that's crazy.
Part of the game. Who knows how it's going to go?
Yeah.
You take a risk one way, you take a risk the other way.
This game in general, this mission to me just seemed like, what does it really give you besides the creaking of the box? Because I feel like the traitors could have just picked anybody and just just roll the dice or something. Like in my mind, their choice did not really matter.
No. Yeah, I think the strategy of just like putting a name out there and being consistent with it to give them nothing, it doesn't hurt them. And it also, in the end, it kind of helped them, because like, if anyone's going to be stupid enough to be defiant for no reason, again, if anyone's going to be emotional, like Tara was, she's like, you're going to choose my name? Not today. traitors. And then she almost signed her death warrant. So
I guess. Oh wait, this comment. Which comment do you? I think Alfred, you can highlight the comments too. You should be able to. But okay. To Daryl's question, but Jay creates suspicion of what? What would Tara? What would Tara do that or would she not? I think it's just like the people being like, this makes Tara look suspicious. How? Like, who would vote themselves over and over again? Like, I think in that case, I feel like realistically, who would play that boldly? So like the idea that it's like pinning it on Tara, making Tara look bad. I would say that this was a ploy. Like I think it's very obvious that it's a ploy as opposed to it being her being really sneaky. And I would almost say the same for Johnny. Like I feel like him picking her over and over again as some type of like scapegoat or something just seems like the idea that a traitor would play that bold just seems very unlikely. I don't think we've seen any like, crazily bold plays from Traitors.
Yeah, it's kind of confusing because there's like levels to it, right? And I think whenever Rob has played chess the most, and I think like in this mission he was playing chess because people would overthink it to the point that you're overthinking. They're like, wait a minute, would Tara choose herself or would someone else choose herself? And would Tara choose herself? And everyone's going to always go to like the most convoluted solution of like, oh, Tara's trying to trick us and she's not going to trick me. So it must be Tara or it must be Johnny. And it's like, and then I think that's what always happens. Like people always overthink things because they don't want to be seen as stupid. And I think that's kind of what happened here a little bit. So
yeah.
I guess that makes sense, but I think what would put the nail in the coffin for me is when they were the only one to choose wrong. Because it's like, why would you do that if that brings so much suspicion on yourself?
well, because they're too emotional.
Yeah,
See
but I'm like,
Candace over here making
if I'm
mistakes.
a faithful and I'm like, okay, I definitely don't think it's them because why would they purposely? Because I was a bit confused by the actual show, but it seemed like everyone was being like, vote Tara for consistency because it's clear what the traitors are doing, and then they go and don't do that. If you're a traitor, why wouldn't you just take the easy W and vote Tara too?
Again, the confusion of it all. Okay, so it goes back to what they were saying about Michael Rappaport and a bunch of other people. You know, again, this is like 3D chess because, you know, either Tara is trying to confuse them as a traitor or Tara is stupid. She's like one of the dumb ones and can't even sacrifice her emotions to get the money, which is the main objective of these missions. And so either way you slice it, Tara and Johnny made a mistake, whether or not they are traitors or whether or not they're faithfuls. They didn't get any money or their strategy was pretty stupid to name themselves and whatever. And so I think it just sheds a lot of like evidence, which I think is very important as we move to the end game. There needs to be like evidence. It doesn't have to be solid evidence, as we saw, because Eric, again, I love that guy, magic ears, right? That was fake, but it just has to be evidence that people can, you know, stick on. So.
That's crazy. I don't know.
That's wild. It's wild.
Daryl says, either way, nothing traces back to Eric and Rob. If somebody thinks it's not Tara, then it doesn't give hints to who else it is besides Johnny. Best move to make. I do think this is a genius.
Agree. So Daryl, get on the show.
I do think that this was a smart move for Rob. I'm just saying, as a faithful trying to figure it out, I don't see how I'm like, they're obvious attention to Tara. It must be her, which is why I'm just like, okay, I don't know how smart we can really say Kristen is.
Yeah,
because I just think.
But I mean, like, yeah. I mean, yeah. I guess as a faithful, it's like dumb to like think this is anything more than a ploy to trick them.
Yeah, that's why I was saying, like, I feel like if I was a faithful, I would just be like, this whole thing doesn't matter. I'm trying to listen to the movement, not like what they're choosing. Because like some of the answers to the question, like picking Tara just didn't make any sense. So it was like 100%. Obviously they're just picking just the same person over and over again. So they're maybe just trying to get us to get more cash by just getting us to vote for the same person over and over again. But like I wouldn't think anything further than that.
Yeah, I agree.
Unless people just kept pressing me.
Same. Another comment I wanted to make before we move on to the Traitors making their shortlist was, okay, this is why I wanted to circle back with the reason why they're keeping around Rob is because he's good at the games. I feel like up until that point that might be true, but after this, I might be looking at the Traitors funny because obviously, just to your point, I do think that you could maybe say that they kept on picking Tara because they're like, eventually these people would get the pattern and then they'll just, keep picking Tara or whatever. But I also think it was very risky because that could also not happen and then they blow money. So I think, and the way that Rob also expressed it was that, like, when it comes down to doing something that could help my game versus getting money, and I think a lot of people feel this way. I feel like even faithful sometimes feel this way. At least like the last season I watched, there's a point when people are like, I don't care if we get money, I'm just trying to get a shield because I want to stay. Like, at one point, people care more about their survival in the game than banking money, and therefore I feel like the idea that, like, it makes sense to keep around as a trader people who bank money if they could potentially be a threat doesn't make sense. So I feel like at this point I'm like, Rob, how are you still here? I not necessarily Rob, but like a lot of people, but I just feel like that cover of like, oh, he's banking so much money. It's just like, okay, but I feel like at some point he's a bigger threat because everyone believes he's a faithful. He's very what are you talking like influential. So it's like, okay, it makes more sense. So I feel like at some point it's just kind of is like, how are these people still here? It just like doesn't compute.
Yeah, I mean that is a good point because it's like after a while, in the beginning it's about making money, but like you said at the end, it's like I need to stay here, and so Rob is kind of a traitor killer at this point, right? He knocked out 2 traitors, so if Rob is not the traitor, the reigning traitor should be like, wait a minute, this guy is dangerous. How is he figuring this out? But that person isn't doing it. Rob's still there, and so I think just like the whirlwind of them being there every day in and day out has like confused them. But that is a good point of like someone who like has space to think about everything logically. Like, wait a minute, 1 + 1 is not equaling 2 here. Maybe we need to look at Rob a little bit more. But like I said, Maura's like Rob, and Rob just picked her up, and she's like, never mind.
She'll vote herself before she votes that man. She'll vote Alan before she votes that man.
Not Alan.
She's like, Alan, you're looking pretty suspicious. I don't know.
I like how this episode he literally was like, you can't vote for me, but I'll be here. I feel like he heard your podcast. Now you keep saying like, don't vote for Alan.
We'll see. All right, and then at the very end of this mission, the traitors are told to create a short list of who's up for murder tonight, and those people would be trapped in their boxes, or murder. And those people would be trapped in their boxes, and so we get Natalie, Tara, Johnny, and Kristen up for murder, who are all pissed. All right, the only last thing I wanted to ask is the strategy of being a traitor and putting yourself up for murder. What do you guys think about that? Do you think that's smart?
I think after what you just said about Rob and how are they not like suspicious of him, he should have put his name. He should have put himself in the 4 because I think it would have made more sense. And they probably would have been like, oh, they're probably scared of like what Rob's been doing. Like he's been very vocal. So I think that would have helped.
Yeah.
Him a little bit. I also don't think it hurts because it seems like nobody cares.
Yeah, exactly.
All these theories suck because nobody cares. Like nobody hates me.
Like honestly, if like Rob put himself in the back, literally when he got back to the house later, everyone would like be feeding him food. Like, oh my God, Rob, are you okay? We're so sorry. The stupid traitors put you in a box. Meanwhile, he has like 8 daggers and it's not. Yeah. He's like, what was me in my sleeveless shirt? No, that's a good point.
All right, so we're finally moving on to the big event of the episode, the round table. Should we just go at it? I mean, I'll summarize. After like the debate, we do get the final votes. There was 5 for Steven, which sent him home, and that was
wait. Let's not do the final votes first.
Should we go through the whole entire?
Yeah, let's go to the things. I think we definitely got to talk about Johnny and Tara coming out as best friends.
I stand. I don't care.
We don't care anymore. We're gonna be our best friends. We're gonna let everyone know. Everyone's like, we don't care, but also you're more suspicious.
I stand this. I don't care. I stand it. Yeah. So going into the round table, Johnny and Tara basically know either one of them is going to die or be banished. So they're going to come out as besties. Literally, they were like sitting on each other, sharing drinks, holding hands, dancing, skipping. Mark
I was like, what is this, the Titanic?
They said, wait, hold on.
Yeah.
How does this connect? What do you mean best friends? I thought you were enemies. Like, sirs, ma'ams.
Mark was gagged though. Like Mark,
Mark was making faces, and did you see a little spin when he closed the door? I was like, sir, what are we doing?
He's trying to get that screen time. He knows.
No, exactly. He's like, I'm gonna go soon. I need to get on the screen a little bit more. I'm gonna do my ice skating pirouette.
I'm surprised no one's looking at him.
Okay. Literally, the bane of my existence is just how, like, okay, one of the things, okay, I guess we can just get into it, but yeah, Johnny and Tara know that people are looking at them, the traitors are setting it up, it's gonna be a uphill battle, and I did really feel for Johnny when he was like, yeah, they're in the car back from the game, and he was like, yeah, everyone probably thinks it's me, so, and like, nobody comforted him, they're like,
they're like, yep.
Like, I do.
They're like, oh, poor you. Like, they did not care. So like they're like, yes, Johnny and Tara basically like, okay, let's go in this together. Let's have each other's back. And I think it's so funny because out the gate, Tara's the first one to speak, and she immediately gets gooped and gagged because she's like, hey guys, I'm a faithful and I know Johnny is a faithful. And then Mara is like, well, how do you even know he's a faithful? Like, what do you mean? Like, you don't know anyone's a faithful. And I'm like, why does Mara only want to come to these actual good revelations when it's not?
I don't care. I'm glad she's doing it. Like, she's making it fun.
That's so true, but like, you could say that for every single time. Like, they trust people, and you're not being like, well, I can't actually trust them because I don't know. I don't know. But yeah,
Mara's the skeptic. And so like, she's not gonna offer anything, but she's gonna be like, yo, elaborate on that shit because it's not making sense.
I guess that's true. But then like, so immediately Johnny comes to her defense, is like, we've known each other for a long time. We just know each other well enough that we would know if something was off and the other one was a faithful. Mark also tries to get almost screen time, and he's like, well, I have a lot of people that I work with Dancing in the Stars, and like, if they're here, I wouldn't trust them fully. And I was like,
Mark, it's accurate.
Yeah. The producers thought the same thing.
We were on the same show. I'm gonna be like, maybe it's her. She's acting a little.
Exactly. And that's exactly what. Yeah, that's what Colton did. Colton wasn't even on the same show as Lisa, but he's like, is Lisa acting weird? And it worked, right?
I guess that's true. I would say though, like, I don't know. Like, I feel like maybe if you know somebody for a long time, you know when they're acting weird, suspicious, like they're not acting themselves, like. So I feel like that could be like accurate, where it's like, oh, I feel like you would act a certain way if you were a traitor and you were trying to hide it from me. Maybe
the problem is like no one's logical in this freaking show, right? Because like, yeah, Johnny and Tara should be more suspect of each other, but they're not. They love each other too much, right? Aren't they married or something? I don't know. Anyway, but it's like literally, Tara's like, Johnny can't be a traitor because we are best friends. And everyone's like, Mark's like spinning around in the background, like, what? And then Johnny's like, yeah, listen to Tara. I'm a faithful because I'm a faithful. And it's like, what evidence is that?
He chewed with that. I don't care.
I feel so bad because like, what do you say?
Exactly. Like, okay, I'm gonna swing.
What else can I say?
I wanted to swing on Mark, where he was like, prove to me I'm a faithful. And it's like, how? So you prove to me I'm a faithful? Like, okay,
you prove it.
When people come from this kind of higher, like, prove to me you're a faithful. How are you faithful? Like, get away from me. So when he's like, I'm not a traitor because I'm not a traitor, I'm a faithful because I'm a faithful. Like, that's all you can really say. Like, it's just like, if you think I'm suspicious, that's some conclusions you made. But it's just, it kind of annoys me when people are like, prove to me you're not faithful.
I mean, we also have to give Johnny credit because poetry. Right? I'm not a traitor because I'm not a faithful. I'm a faithful because I'm a faithful. That's like a Lil Wayne line.
Yeah.
Or something like that. So.
That's what I'm saying. So Johnny and Tara, after fighting off who is it? Mara and Mark. They
Dang.
jointly accuse Steven of being the faithful, and I think, what do they point out?
You mean the traitor?
Or of being a traitor. You're right. And they point out, this is another instance of somebody actually bringing up something that happened in the past and bringing it to the forward, because Johnny points out that the night before Candace got banished and revealed as a traitor, after Candace's name was being thrown around, her and Steven met privately together and actually turned away Johnny and Dorinda.
Evidence.
So I
knew that was gonna come back, because the way they filmed that, I was like, oh.
Yeah. They definitely do a lot of foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Same. And he ate for that, because I hate when they just we know he's not a traitor, but like, still, that was good to bring up. And then Tara also mentions that he was just acting really weird and not believable at breakfast, but Steven, he combats that, just saying there was nothing suspicious about it, like he was just trying to be himself. Whatever, Steven. Kristen well, okay,
You're like, fuck you, Steven, die.
Somebody like confronts him, he's just like, no, and then it's just like moves on. So good.
He's trying to do like a smolder. He's trying to copy Rob and see like, can I get like good look points? He's like, no.
He's like,
ew. Yeah, exactly.
Remember
the days.
whatever the heck he was on.
Oh yeah, he was on Laguna Beach.
Yeah,
time has not been kind.
He did not slander. Steven fans, that's not me, that's him. Come to his Instagram.
The funny thing is, you're acting like Steven has fans.
He does.
That would support him publicly.
Kristen, she then confronts the fact that she thinks Tara is a traitor, specifically because she points out how suspicious it is that the day after, or the day of her confronting Tara and saying that she thinks that Tara is suspicious and a traitor, suddenly Kristen's one of the people on the short list for dying tonight, or being murdered. Mark accuses Johnny, points out the whole situation of Candace wanting him to have a shield a couple missions ago, and then also just thinks this whole Tara and Johnny coming out as besties is very strange. And then Natalie accuses Steven, brings it back around to Steven, and she brings up another thing that happened in the past with Lisa, who is then revealed to be a traitor, putting gold in Steven's basket during one of the challenges. She also points out that Steven's behavior at breakfast seemed insincere. So when we get down to the vote, before it happens, Natalie somewhat pressures Rob to reveal that he has that dagger, because she's the only one in the dagger group that's up for murder, and she thinks that will make her a target if the traitors are suspicious. So he I don't even know, whispers it into his armpit. I don't know if anyone heard him say that he had the dagger or not. I was like, this all looks...
No, I think everyone heard him.
But he was like he literally... I was scared. I was scared for my life.
That is louder.
Right? She's like, reveal it. And I was like, okay, do we think she was kind of doing too much when she was like,
I mean, this is Natalie we're talking about, right? She's always been aggressive.
After that,
she's a survivor.
The antidote.
I would think that after that,
she's like, give me that antidote.
And she's still in Survivor.
That's crazy. I would think after that she'd be like, oh, I have to kind of lay low because they tried to drag me for being a bit forward.
She's too hot and cold though, right? It's like she tries to bring logic, which is fair because she's a gamer, but then she does things like, the dinner with the antidote, and then the Rob, get your dagger out, please protect me. And it's like, okay, you're either gonna play cool, calm and collected, or you gotta play whatever. This back and forth would be suspicious to me.
I could definitely.
Surprised she's not gone.
Honestly, she thinks she's next. She thinks she's up for being murdered.
Yeah. Also, why is everyone so worried about being murdered? Does everyone know this is a game they don't actually die?
Yeah, they're like, I don't want to die tonight.
Yeah, they start crying. Please don't kill me.
People do cry,
please don't murder me.
I was watching when Colton was murdered, and when you could see his hands when he lifted up the paper, they were shaking, and he was like, "Colton,
oh my gosh,
yeah,
right."
He was scared.
But little did we know that Colton has a drug addiction and that he was in withdrawal. That's why his hands were. I'm just...
I was wasn't news to me. Okay. Not the rumors starting here.
I will say, I was watching that podcast that I mentioned with Tiffany, and she was talking about how, like, among the gamers, being murdered is like being banished is considered more something to be more proud. Like, if you're gonna get kicked out of the game before the end, you should aim to be banished and not murdered, because they were talking about how, like, being murdered is a bit embarrassing because it's like you're killed overnight, you kind of just like come and go. Even really big players like Colton, their murder just kind of came and went, versus if you are banished, you at least have that speech and can go out with like a bang. So maybe that's why people are like, I don't want to be murdered. The only Jam was probably the only one who got to have like a
got
big
to say
moment.
something.
Oh yeah, didn't he just shout like it was Lisa? He's like, oh, what was me?
He's like, Lisa, it's Lisa, she kissed me. He was like, I was like, oh my god. It was very scary. All right, so then for the final votes, we have Johnny with 2 votes from Mara and Steven, Tara with 2 votes from Kristen and Mark, and Steven being the one banished for the Knights with 5 votes from Tara, Eric, Johnny, Natalie, and Rob. And he's like, he goes up and he's like, yo, I'm a faithful. And everyone's like, literally nobody cared. No one cared, which is probably the worst.
Leave Steven alone.
Yeah, you gotta leave.
Mark
wow. Yeah, you are attacking Steven way too much.
Mark's gonna do a twirl and everyone's gonna be like, woo!
No,
Mark's like, we did it!
Like, thanks, across the board.
Even though he's not even a traitor, he's a faithful. Yeah. So. But literally, that is my biggest embarrassment, for me to be like, and I'm a faithful, and everyone's gonna be like, oh dang. Anyway, moving on. Like, what's for lunch?
Like, oh well. We'll do better next time. Damn. Yo, why are you talking to my boy Steven like that?
You can go now.
They're like, we don't even want to know what you are. Just leave. Don't even reveal it. Just leave.
Go to sleep now.
They're like, damn, it's late.
They're like, anyway. But yeah, so no one Kerr. I guess in ways Natalie does feel a little bit guilty, because she felt like she was trying to do something different, and then it ended up getting an innocent person banished. Like, okay, so how do you think that Johnny and or Tara were able to escape banishment? Because it really did seem like the writing was on the wall for Johnny and Tara. Do we just think they just lucked out that everyone's mind was everywhere? Do they think
logic?
You think it was logical to not banish them?
No, I think it was logical. People brought evidence against Steven.
Yeah.
They really didn't have any evidence against Tara and Johnny except for vibes, and then the Candace connection with Johnny, but that's loose.
But do you think this evidence between for Steven was that damning?
You have oh yeah, you had Lisa throwing money in his thing. I mean, and Lisa was a traitor. Like, those connections, even if they're wrong, like, people get swayed heavily on that.
Yeah, and then him talking to Candace and be like them turning away people is kind of weird.
That's massive. Yeah.
Well, sorry, Steven. I don't know.
He's like listening. He's like putting the chat. Hey guys, that wasn't real.
I'm like, blocked.
Oh my god. People don't.
Wow, you really hate Steven.
No,
you gotta change your name to like #1 Steven hater.
No, I don't hate Steven. I'm just curious as to what that even was. Like, I thought he would maybe get more of a plot later down the line, but it's just like he was just kind of there
to get voted out. It was all building to this moment.
To his departure.
Wow. And for everyone to close his eyes when he went to get revealed. Yeah. They were literally getting
everyone like somehow breaks out their food from dinner and they're just like, okay, whatever.
Oh, so sad.
I feel bad for him. It's kind of like that what is that Jennifer Hudson, like, you know that what's it, the Soul Train thing that Jennifer Hudson does for like when her guests come?
Oh yeah.
And like sometimes not everyone's there, so people will be like, oh, this person's not as popular because not everyone's doing the Soul Train line for this person. Like, have you seen that?
Yeah, that's
like how the sizes will differ, and so it's like that's what's giving. Like, Steven had like 2 people doing the Soul Train line for him as he's walking down.
That is so. Oh my
And they're doing it
God.
like in a lackluster way.
Yeah.
Like we
Hi,
have to
Steve.
be
Like,
here again.
whoa, Steven.
Ooh.
Got the best, I guess.
I guess. Yeah, I mean, and again, like there was like, 3 strikes and you're out, right? First strike, Lisa Coin. Second strike, the Candace conversation. And I think Daryl brought up a good point. Third strike, when you respond to someone calling you a traitor by saying you're a traitor, you're kind of done, right? You got to defend yourself, not, throw the blame somewhere else, I think. And that's why,
Or
I
like,
guess why you were saying, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, or throw it with like facts.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
That's why I think like Johnny got a little bit lucky because I've heard a lot of people saying that Johnny's saying, I'm a faithful because I'm a faithful worked. But it's like, to your point, like, what else can you say when you have no evidence to you being a faithful than just like saying you're faithful and not throwing it to someone else? I guess that is a good strategy at the end of the day.
Mhm. Yeah, that makes sense. So bye bye, Steven. I did put like, was there
Bye,
anything
bye, bye.
Steven could do? But I guess it's very. I mean, I guess
It
yeah.
came
He
out of
made a
nowhere. He
mistake.
couldn't even defend himself.
Yeah, and I think he probably thought when they had brought up the whole Lisa Gold money thing before in the past that he had cleared his name. So I could see him being shocked with people bringing it up again.
The question is, what did he do to clear his name, or did people just forget and find someone more, suspicious?
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know because I also think that it's interesting that nobody has brought back around Natalie's whole like anecdote.
Oh, her time is coming.
Yeah.
Thing.
It was weird because I feel like the last time they were like, yeah, Tara brought up Natalie, like, no, or what was it? Candace was saying like, oh, we were gonna all vote for Natalie when we got into the room, and then it changed, and then everybody was just like, when did we say we were gonna vote for Natalie?
That was crazy.
Who said that? And I was like, wait, so did no one want to vote for Natalie that one time? So like, what was that? Like, was it camera work or like? Did people just
I feel like
forget
there's
that they
so
were
much
gonna
camera
vote?
work in this.
I remember that was Johnny's little alliance he tried to put together, and they flopped and fell apart within seconds. I was like, wow, what a flop alliance. All right, so the aftermath of the round table. So I think one of the biggest things out of this aftermath section was the fact that Kristen is now on to Eric. She specifically presses him on how quiet he was on the round table. He ultimately was one of the votes that pushed Steven out, so maybe Kristen's a bit upset about that, and she felt like he's not really saying anything. He attempts to defend himself, saying that he's been consistent before, but he couldn't pin down where everyone was going to vote, so he just went in the direction that he felt everyone else was going in. And it was actually kind of crazy because Kristen basically is like, I kind of think it's you now, and then she relays that to I believe it was Natalie, Rob, and Mark, that she's like, yeah, if I die, then it's Kristen, or then it's probably Eric. So we get back into the turret, and Eric and Rob are again tasked with deliberating who to murder. So they go through a few options. So one of them is Johnny, but I think they want to skip over Johnny because I feel like he has a lot of heat. He probably is the next one to go up the round table. They say Tara specifically because they feel like that would not make a lot of sense, and that randomness could potentially cause chaos. For Natalie, she trusts Rob, but because she's a really, really smart person, they feel like she needs to go soon. And then Kristen, they talk about that, but that could potentially put heat on Eric, but at the same time, leaving her could potentially make it hard because Eric would now be tasked with trying to convince Kristen that it's not him. So that's kind of where we are then. Now I'll say one thing that I thought was interesting is that we have this situation where Rob is in the discussion where Kristen's straight up saying, if I die, it's Eric. And he actually tells Eric this. So is that maybe proof that he actually is in it to win with Eric? Because he could have easily pulled the situation that he did with Candace.
He didn't pull anything with Candace. I hate this narrative.
Did he not?
I think he pulled it after. My thing is he started pulling stuff when she pulled his name, like wrote his name. If she didn't write his name, I think they could have kept going, but she immediately initiated battle when he turned on Lisa.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think what this actually shows for Rob, it's that he will play as a team with the Traitors until he thinks it no longer is viable for his success
Yeah.
or the Traitor success. And that's how you play the game.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
I can definitely like agree with that.
Yeah. Because he told him, and he told Lisa up front, the only person that he didn't tell because he thought she was lying to him at first was Candace.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
That makes a lot of sense.
yeah, Candace is too emotional. Don't be emotional, Candace.
Candace was anyway. Do we think it's crazy how fast Kristen was able to snipe Eric?
I think she's just
No. Yeah, she's grasping for straws.
that's all she does right now. It's just
Yeah. Because like think about this. Think about like if Rob chose someone else as a replacement traitor, and then Eric is still quiet because he doesn't know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
She's still gonna go to Eric.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't have been a traitor in that situation. So yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think
I
he would
think
have like what would he have added? I feel like I don't
nothing.
know. He didn't have any clue. He helped with the other thing, like
Yeah.
Candace.
He never had any
true.
clues. Yeah.
I feel like it's so interesting though how perception plays so much of a role in this game because we don't know if right now we don't know if Tara's wrong, but like Kristen has put stuff out there that was incorrect. She kind of been jumping around and things like that. But I still notice there is an air of respect around her gameplay and how she goes about it. Kristen. And similar, we had talked about in the past, a lot of people have, how Colton, would be very wrong and lead the charge and also be really right. But it didn't seem like that really affected people's willingness to kind of like lead or whatever. So do you think that there's a way you can play the game and throw out wrong information and still be safe? Or you have to be very, I'm only like voting something if I know I have a bunch of people on my side and I know I don't have to be like, how much do you think people are just allowed to play certain ways because of how they're perceived? Yeah. Versus like actually being good or bad at the game.
All of the above.
Do you think so? What exactly, for example, about like Ron Funches made people so upset that he
was
voted
black.
for Shonen's Ron?
I don't understand what other thing like. Were they just?
No. I mean, there's like this.
They're just.
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say they were being dumb.
Yeah. I think there's like phases to this show, right? And early on, it is very much so a popularity contest. And only later, once you start making these mistakes of like who's a traitor, their actual faithfuls, you're like, okay, wait a minute. I can't just go on like Colton's a big football player. Like Johnny was like, oh my God, Colton, he's so beautiful. I don't know. I was like starstruck by him where everyone's like on to Rob is like, be or whatever. It's like, you gotta start looking past certain things. Like even with Donna day one, like they got lucky with Donna.
Yeah.
But literally none of them were friends with Donna. And they're like, yeah, we don't know you. Bye. And they're saying the same thing. It's like, we don't know you, Ron. Goodbye.
Yeah.
And it's like,
and you were friends with Donna.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah. And I mean, that's like a fair evidence, but also like this guy is spitting out facts. And then literally when he's about to die, he's like, you know what? If I was a real faithful, I would let you guys kill me. And then he goes around and starts saying goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. And it's like, people still eventually voted him out, and it doesn't make sense. And so I don't think people are dumb. It's just we have this pre-programming because of society that makes it hard. I mean, this is like, the perfect thing. We have this pre-programming that makes it hard to find the snake. And that's why they can't find Rob. And they make all these other mistakes. So
yeah. I guess that makes sense. And not to bring it back to Candace, but
here we go. Jesus, no. She's dead.
That's why I'm just kind of like, damn, like I can kind of see why she was maybe a little bit gagged that her like random flip on Rob didn't work, because I do think the notion that you had people like Mara literally being offended that you would think that Rob was a traitor, and it's just kind of weird because it's like, why? Exactly how she questions Johnny when that's her best friend, like Tara, or that's exactly how Mara questions Tara when she says, I know. Like, that's basically how a lot of people move. They just kind of put people in these boxes. This is somebody who I should listen to. This is somebody who I shouldn't.
That's a good point.
This is somebody who could never be faithful. This is somebody who couldn't. And I wonder, even with people like Mark and Kristen, who are like accused of not being faithfuls, or sorry, traitors, I wonder how much that, like, where that even comes from. And I could say that it's probably a level of like the kind of clique alliance that they have, where I think they are kind of being like, it's anyone that's not in this group, which is not, that just doesn't make sense, because why? You think you have like a ability to just link up with people who aren't faithful or aren't traitors, you know? It's just kind of weird, in my opinion.
That's fair.
Was there any other notes you guys had about this kind of aftermath situation?
I will say, when you brought up, I forgot that, what's her name? Kristen said that if she thinks it's Tara because she told Tara that she was suspicious of her, and she's like, if I die, it's because it's Tara. But then she suddenly says the same thing about Eric.
That's a smart strategy, kind of.
And I'm just like, she's just picking things, and I feel like if they choose to kill her, I feel like they could possibly spin it to be like, oh, but she said two different people. Like, it could just be like the traitor heard this and just went with this. So
that's a good point.
We could just be grasping at anything, or two different people, and
that's good.
Yeah, it just makes it confusing.
Yeah, never mind. I don't think that's a good strategy anymore.
Wait, what were you gonna say, Alfred?
No, I just, like, initially when you were talking about that, I thought it was like potentially a good strategy to like drop your name, or like drop someone's name and be like, if I die, this person's a traitor. But after a while, it's like the boy who cried wolf type of situation.
All right, so that is it for the show. But before we hop off, a couple predictions. Rapid fire. Who do you guys think is going to be killed by the traitors? Who do you think potentially will be banished? And do you think that Eric has a chance to last to the end?
I think Natalie's gonna die.
Yeah, I agree. I was gonna say that.
Or not?
I think they're gonna probably banish Tara, because I feel like Kristen is coming into her own as Colton version 2, and she's gonna whip up some votes
against Tara.
Yeah,
and not Eric.
I think he's gonna. I mean, Rob chose him for a reason, and I want to have faith in him that Eric is gonna do something to push it towards Tara.
Yeah, hopefully.
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah, I was gonna say I do agree that they're probably gonna kill Natalie next. Poor Natalie. But I don't know. I feel like this Eric thing could stick, and if that's what happens, I'm very curious what that looks like for Rob at the round table. Whether he tries to defend him in some sense, or he just kind of goes with.
Oh no, you know he's not defending anybody.
I mean, he might. He seemed like he was really down with. He said, "You're my equal. We're locked in." That's
But that, like, you play the game until you can't play the game. You are loyal to another trader until the loyal trader messes their game up. He's not responsible for Eric's mistakes. Eric has to. I agree with what Rob did. He said, "Eric, you need to fix this, and then I'll see what happens."
Yeah, this could be his test.
Yeah.
All right, and I also, one last question: do we think Rob uses the dagger in the next round, or he just leaves it to expire?
I don't think he uses it at all.
Why?
I think it would be too revealing.
Yeah.
Based on how he reveals it, how he uses it. So unless there's someone there that, like, he absolutely needs to get back on his side. And so, like, Natalie might nudge him again, like, Rob, use that dagger. So I don't think he's gonna use it.
Do you agree, Jasmine?
Yeah. So I feel like if he tries to use it if he tried to save Eric, it would just be like, why are you trying to save him? Where did this come from?
Yeah. And if he uses it, he's obviously not going to use it on Eric. He uses it on a faithful. He killed a faithful. And so then how does he defend using a dagger on a faithful? And then people's like, wait a minute, are you a traitor? And then that starts to put heat on him.
That's true.
Yeah.
I think like Rob's play with the dagger is to have no one else have the dagger, which is what he said when he got it.
Yeah, that's pretty smart. All right, y'all. We will find out next episode. Before we go, do you guys have anything you want to plug? Shout out to the people.
Yeah, I just want to plug hating on Candace in 2026. 2026 is a tough time. Don't be emotional.
I'm scared. Do you want to plug the party you're gonna have that Dorinda's gone, Jazz?
I mean, this was it. We talked about it as much as we should. Not much. I'm just happy she's gone.
It was uneventful, but we needed it. Yes, thank you, Daryl. I agree with Daryl. 2026 hashtag don't be emotional. Share with everyone you know.
Not hashtag. All right, we had 2 lackluster departures this episode, but we're excited to see as we get closer to who's
2 more episodes left. Oh my
2
god!
more, and a reunion, which I heard there was some drama. But again, thank you everyone for tuning in, and see you next time on the Only Traitors podcast. What did we do last time, Jess? Don't get murdered.
I was trying to remember.
Don't get murdered. See you back at the castle, players.
Bye bye, everyone.